Hey, I'm Tim.
I'm Angie.
And welcome back to RV Life with TNA. Today we got a special one for you. Are you excited?
I'm totally excited.
I'm excited too. Today's gonna be the best day in an RVer's life. That's right. It's filling the fifth wheel with water and dumping our tanks. First, we're gonna go to the back of the truck and we'll show you what we're dealing with right here. All right, so currently our fifth wheel has a 54-gallon freshwater tank. So we have a 60-gallon water bladder right here. So we fill this up with water and then we got to transfer it into our fifth wheel. And we'll take you along and show you that process. Each one of us have a job. I have my job and Angie has her jobs. All right, so let's hop in the truck. Go get the water. All right, here we go. So like I said, we're in La Posa South, Quartzsite, Arizona. We're gonna go fill with water. Heading out to base camp. Yes, this isn't the best mount in the world. It is wobbly, but it's better than me holding it, like I said. On down the road, and as you can see, we got the big trash dumpsters on the left. On the right up here, we have the main RV dump site. Let's see if we can get a better angle on that as we come up. Let's try to zoom in on that thing over there. The RV's dumping over there. And a little ways past this, on the left, well, you can get water on the right and the left. For some reason, we always go on the left. And you're gonna see us pulling in here pretty soon.
I think it's kind of cool getting water sometimes because we end up meeting the most random people that actually become friends with us.
Everybody's got their own process, but this is what works for us. So that's what we're gonna show you. Here we go. Alright, so the sun's bright today, but we got Angie getting out the hose right here. Grab the filter.
I'm not used to being on this side.
So she'll usually hook up the hose and the filter.
This is the worst part.
A lot of people say you don't need to use a filter here, but we figured, what the heck? Might as well use it. It's not gonna hurt nothing. Oh, well, she gets that all hooked up here. The water bladder. We had to switch out this valve right here. The one that it came with was plastic and it was garbage, so we put this good brass one on from Home Depot. Never had an issue with it right here. And we leave this little elbow on so we can bend the hose and fill it up. So you want to undo this little cap right here so it lets the air bleed out when we fill it up. And she's still hooking the hose.
I didn't realize the cap was on it.
All right.
Sure it's not leaking.
We put the other end of the hose in here to the bladder. Open the valve. Turn the water on. It's going to take a while to fill a 60-gallon bladder, so we're not going to bore you with this. We'll come back when it's full. All right. So as you can see, we got the water bladder full right here, and we're ready to go. Disconnect the water hose. Sometimes you want to shake the excess water out of your water filter so it doesn't leak all over your truck. Get the excess water out of the hose. I always put the hose together like this so the water doesn't leak out of the hose. So if there's any water in your hose, it just stays right there. And go back to the camper. Alrighty, let's rock and roll. Headed back to the fifth wheel. And we'll show you the process of putting the water back in. And pumping it from the bladder into our fifth wheel. You can see this guy in front of us right here is on his way to the Blue Boy dump to dump out his tote. And that's what we're going to be doing after we fill ourselves up with water. Running off the road up here, headed back to the fifth wheel. Yep, as you can tell, like I said, this mount is not the best mount, but hey, we're YouTubers on a budget, so that's what we got to deal with. Alrighty, now we're back at the fifth wheel. And we begin the process of getting everything ready to pump the water into the black tank. Alright, Angie's gonna get our water pump out. I don't think you can see very good today because it's nice and bright and sunny, okay? Set the water pump up. We get our hoses out here. We'll dig out our other hose. Alright, so to do this, you're gonna need one hose to go from the bladder to the water pump, and then one hose from the water pump to the fifth wheel. And you always need the extension cord. We moved to a bigger water pump this year, so this one is 120 volt water pump, so you can hook it up to an extension cord. Don't plug it in yet. Alrighty, so let's get the hoses hooked up here. Hook up the hose to the bladder. Alright, this is kind of the hard part right here. With this water pump, you actually got to prime. So we open the valve a little bit. Well, actually, let's do it like this. Let's actually hook the hose up first. Nothing ever wants to work right, and that's the everyday normal life RVing. Alright, we got water coming out here, so it looks like it's primed. If we get our rag, for some reason all of these Harbor Freight water pumps want to leak, even brand new, not really a big deal. Alrighty, now we hook our hose up to the water pump here. Alright, get this hooked up. Alright, I always put an elbow on right here, make everything easier on the filling port so it doesn't break. I always put my elbow on first. Then I got the water meter. Make sure you go in the direction it says to flow. Hook everything up. Alright, now here's an important part of the process right here. You got the switch right here. It says tank fill, power wash, normal and fill. Always put that down to fill first, at least on our Cougar. Alright, now we come over, open the valve on the water bladder, and plug her in. And now we're pumping. It's always a process of figuring out how to put your hoses so your water pump doesn't keep flipping over. And we got to pump about 50 gallons in, so we'll get back to you when it's done. All right, so Angie usually sits there, holds the water pump so it doesn't tip over if she lets go of her hand. No, it's not tipping over today. So while she's doing that, I usually dump the first tank.
Yeah.
So here we have our Rhino tote. Get that in position. And our short hose. I always like to have a short hose and Quartzsite when I'm going to the Blue Boy dump, because so I don't have some 20-foot hose making a mess everywhere. Alright, here you can see we got our dump valve, we got our hose going into our tote. The important part, I have messed this up before. Take off this cap right here so your tote can vent, otherwise you'll have water coming out all over right here. Alright, then we open up this valve down here. And we usually always start with the black tank. I'm not going to show you actually dumping, but we'll come back once we're done. And like I said, no fake news here. This is what we do while we're waiting. I sit on the tote, Angie sits on the truck. We wait till the water's done, and then we finish off the tote. We'll usually flush a little bit of water, especially boondocking and Quartzsite. We'll usually put some water down the toilet to kind of flush out the little bits at the end that are on the bottom of the tank. And then we load up the tote and we get ready to dump. Okay, I lied. So here's what we did. We unplugged the water pump, turned the valve back to normal. Now she's stepping on the toilet, the foot pedal. We're gonna flush for 3 minutes to get the rest of the crud out, and then we'll go back to filling up the tank. Alrighty, this is upside down, but you can read that. So we filled 34 gallons, and we know we're full when we go over here. And this little black piece right here is the overflow. As soon as we see water coming out, boom, we know we're full. So now we're gonna unhook everything and then get ready to dump. Alrighty, so we're done pumping the water from the bladder into the fifth wheel. Now we get ready to dump. First thing you gotta do, find yourself some gloves. Put some gloves on, because if you don't use them, everybody says you're nasty. But I'll tell you the truth, we normally don't use them. We kind of got over that. So you want to close your gate valve down here, undo your hose, dump what's left over in, throw the hose in the back of the truck, put your vent cap back on, put your main cap back on. Now here's the sucky part, because this is a 36-gallon Rhino tote, and when it's full, it's 240 pounds. So, manhandle this thing out with the hitch. Now we get ready to go. Alrighty, we're ready to roll. Let's head over to the dump. Alright, now because we dump our tanks into a tote, we just roll over to the Blue Boy dump. And that's why some people like to be, oh, here we go. Told you this mount's kind of crazy here. Some people like to be out on their own, away from everything. I prefer to be in visual range of the Blue Boy dump, so I know if anybody's dumping and how long it's going to take. So as we cut through these, on this little trail here, you can see there's that black car is I think a volunteer to make sure that we're permitted and able to use. And then we got one guy in the white truck already dumping. up here slowly. I'll show you once we get there. Alrighty, we got the white truck leaving. And as we prepare to pull up here, see the big water tank on the right there? That's for rinsing out your hoses and rinsing off the ground, so you're not making a mess. Alrighty, so we get the hose out, throw it over here, get the tote off. This is how I choose to do it. Most people use this side valve right here, but I don't ever want it to leak, so I don't even open it. But this way is more of a pain and definitely put some strain on your back. We hook our hose up. It's always good to have two people, one to hold the end of the hose, but Andy's filming. So, just lift up the tote. Don't film anything over there. Once you can feel that your tote starts getting empty, you can kind of collapse your hose down so you get rid of that little natural P-trap right there. And once we're empty, I hold my foot on the hose so it doesn't come out of the hole. Take the hose off. Put your cap back on. It's good to rinse your hose out. Get all that nastiness out of your hose. This is why I use the short hose, so I don't have all that extra mess. Rinse off the hole for the next guy.
Or girl.
Or girl. Hook back up. Get ready to leave.
Okay, what you didn't see is usually I hold the hose, I put the hose together, and I stand there and I do the draining of our tank. And I didn't do it this time so I could film. So it was kind of awkward. I felt like I was doing nothing and a bunch of people were watching me film my husband. It made me look lazy.
Alright, so now we're done dumping. We're back at the camp. We'll grab our sewer hose, grab our tote, go back. Real quick, I don't know if you heard me when we were at the dump. So most people choose to use this gate valve to dump out of their tote. I don't ever want it to leak, so I don't use it. That's why I tilt it up and dump out of this right here. That's just how I choose to do it. It's a lot more wear and tear on your back, but there it is. Alrighty, everybody, so that's the best day in an RVer's life. Filling your water, dumping your tanks. Thanks for coming along. Earl's back right here. Stay tuned for future videos.
We're out.